Hi, Patrick Phillip here at Effective Martial Arts HQ in Pointe-Claire, West Island of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And in this lesson, how to train for beginners, understanding basic physiology and psychology to ensure rapid progression and long-term success in your martial arts training. All right, so we get a lot of beginners in our school from all ages and all backgrounds. Some are in great shape to start, some have never done physical exercise in their life, and we've been able to determine certain patterns and certain pitfalls that you need to avoid in order to ensure your maximum chances of success in your martial arts training. So, and that goes as well if you are an instructor, a coach, or a teacher of some kind. You want to know what these are in order to better help your students progress through the ranks and ideally keep on training for a long time. So, if you're a beginner and you've decided to train martial arts, most likely it's because you want to do it for a certain amount of time and you have set a certain set of goals for yourself that you want to achieve. So, here's a couple of things to keep in mind to help you do so. First up, physiology. So this has to do with the very beginning of a student's martial arts journey. This goes for fitness as well, if you're starting a new fitness regimen of some kind, or if you're beginning a new sport as well. When you begin your martial arts training, you want to go slow. Okay? We've seen this many times in the past. A beginner comes in, they're motivated, and they want to follow the class. They want to give their best. They want to do everything that they can to push their limits. It's not the time on that first class or those first couple of weeks, especially if you're not in great shape to start, or if you have trained in the past but you haven't for a while. Go back to it progressively. That means in that first class, first week, second week, third week, slow yourself down. And we've learned from our mistakes, so our instructors are great at doing so. We will actually slow you down and tell you to stop when we know that that's what's best for you. And you should as well, if you want to be a good martial arts instructor, you should stop the students when you know that they're not in great shape yet and they're not yet used to the training. Stop them. So maybe the class does a series of 20 push-ups, let's say. Well, the ones who are just new to joining the class, they should do maybe 5 and then relax afterwards. You don't want to you don't want to exhaust yourself when you're doing a new activity. The reason is, if you do, you could go through the whole class and do the whole thing. You'll be tired, but you'll be able to do it the same day, but you will pay for it dearly the following. So we have reports of people like after their first class, way back a couple of years, they had trouble walking down the stairs. It hurt when they coughed because of the ab exercise that we did. It was just, the feeling was like getting hit by a bus. And we see it all the time as well. People who are starting a new fitness regimen, New Year's resolution, I'm getting in shape, they hit the gym super hard, and then they can't move for a week, and then that's gonna really slow down their progress. One, because they're not gonna be able to train as soon after as they would have liked because they're just incapable of moving. The body tells you, whoa, buddy, slow down. I need to recuperate from this. This is too intense. But more importantly, the mind associates a negative feeling, negative sensation to the idea of training, which means that now you have that negative association in your mind, and that'll discourage you from wanting to train more moving forward. So the key is consistency. We say consistency over intensity. You want to get into the habit of training and really let the time for your body to adapt to the stimulus that you're placing on top of it so that it can adapt progressively, come back stronger, and then go incrementally from there. Just so you understand the basics of training physiology, because that's important because you are doing a fitness exercise when you're practicing martial arts, or at least you should because you want to be in shape when you're practicing martial arts. You want to work towards that because that's going to just help your techniques work a lot better. I think all serious martial artists should be athletes as well. So training physiology, what are you doing? You're at a certain level here of strength, endurance, or whatever it is. And by the way, strength is usually the first aspect that we work in class and the one that we maintain constantly. So basically lifting. And we have a great body weight fitness training routines. You can check it out in the cards above for each major body part. So even if you have no exercise, no equipment, no excuses. But if you want to use machines or free weights, that's great too, as long as you're lifting and you're really working on the strength of your muscles and all the major muscle groups. This will be the first thing to work on your fitness when you begin martial arts training. So what happens? You're at a certain level of strength, let's say, and then you introduce a stimulus, meaning you do a set of push-ups or you work your back using back arches and different back exercises. And now because of that stimulus, you are decreasing your capacity. You're tiring your muscles, you're fatiguing your body. So now your potential, your capacity diminishes. What happens when you rest and recover? So you just basically relax, you sleep enough, you eat well. We're going to talk more about nutrition in future videos, but basically just eat good food, eat enough of it in good proportions at regular times that work for you. So as you rest and recover, your ability goes back up. And then ideally what happens is you go down, but then your body overcompensates and then increases your capacity to match the stimulus so that it knows something else is coming that's probably similar to what you introduced. So I want to increase our capacity. Let's invest in building a little bit more muscle so that now we're going to be stronger next time we're faced with that type of exercise. And then if you have that increased capacity, if you introduce another stimulus here, you're going to go down again and then back up and then so on and so forth. If you do nothing at this point, you just go back to your regular level that you were before, you scale down over time. So this is the basics of physiology, really important to understand. The next thing that's important to understand is the concept of habit and willpower. This is also very important because it's more on the psychological side, that you want to be able to nurture and maintain and replenish your willpower. So when you're beginning your martial arts training, you are motivated, most likely. You've decided to start training. Same thing when you've decided to hit the gym and get back in shape and lose some weight, lose some fat, and gain some muscle, and tone yourself, whatever it is, you are motivated, usually. Then, over time, your motivation can diminish because the novelty of the activity can wear off. We sometimes see the opposite as well, with martial arts especially, because when you begin learning about martial arts, you start learning your abilities, and then you start learning new techniques, and then you start getting some skills. It could be a very addictive sensation and almost like a beneficial drug, one of our students reported it saying, so that you crave more and then you want to improve, and it can almost become an obsession over time. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about people who are more like regular people, want to do it to have fun, and are not yet into it. So to get there. To maintain your willpower, you're introducing something new in your schedule. Okay? You're introducing training that you did not do before. In order to sustain that, it requires discipline because you need to force yourself to do it. It's new. It's a new habit. It requires effort. You need to get off the couch. You need to get to your place of training, and you need to put effort. You're going to sweat. It's going to be tough. You're going to have increased heart rate, increased breathing. It's going to be hard. When you do so, it requires effort and specifically willpower. Now, a little parentheses, the concept of willpower. What is willpower? There's a very interesting book that I read and we shared with the team, and that's something that we always come back to in our organization, is The One Thing by Gary Keller. And one of the concepts that he talks about in the book is the concept of willpower and seeing willpower as a limited but renewable resource. Limited but renewable resource. Meaning, if you use your willpower to do something, you will have less of it that remains. Now, I won't get into the whole theory of it because there's a lot of stuff to know, but just a quick example to illustrate. They did a scientific study where they took two control groups, and one group, they have them memorize a certain number of digits, like, 5, 7 digits, like a phone number or whatever. And the other group, they had them memorize another series of digits, but that was longer. So more digits. I don't know how many. I forget the specific example. But the point is very interesting. What they made is that between the two groups, the group that had the lower amount of digits to memorize, and they did the same for both groups, when they come out of the experiment, they offer them a healthy snack, so fruits or whatever, and a tasty treat, for them to indulge. So I don't know, chocolate cake or ice cream or something decadent that's not good for them healthy, that's not healthy, and that they know that's not healthy. Now, what's amazing is the group that had the lower amount of digits to memorize actually had more restraint in terms of opting for the healthy snack rather than the tasty treat. And the ones that had more numbers to memorize actually succumbed to the temptation more of the sweet dessert and just were not able to stop themselves and go with the healthy option with the fruits, because they had used a little bit more willpower to memorize a couple extra digits. Now that's crazy. So seeing your willpower as a limited but renewable resource is very important. And when we come full circle to what we did about physiology, knowing that it takes willpower for you to get to your place of training and to execute your training, and that to do it once, twice, 3 times a week or a little bit every day, whatever it is, it requires willpower. So if you do that, and on top of it, when you do after, you have an aching sensation in your entire body, you don't feel good, that's gonna be even more taxing now on your willpower, because you have that association in your mind, and your mind is like, whoa, I don't wanna go train, it's gonna hurt. But now, no, your willpower is, no, I need to do it, I want to do it, I set this goal for myself, and then you need to use more of your willpower in order to get back into the habit of training. So a little trick there is, by moderating the intensity of your training, you can require less willpower to do it, which ultimately will lead to creating habits. And that's the next thing that he also talks in the one thing, is the power of habit. And a lot of self-development, everybody talks about it, it's a common thing. Studies vary, but they say it takes about 67 days or about 2 months to create a new habit. So what this means is that when you are starting something new, it requires willpower. But if you apply selective discipline and you do it for more than 2 months, eventually it becomes a habit, and now it doesn't require willpower anymore. And that is very interesting, because if you succeed in creating the habit, now you're on a winning streak. You got momentum. And you could just maintain that momentum and reach more success in whatever activity that you set out to do. So the power of habit, creating habits. So you start small. You go once a week, twice a week. You do a little 5-minute extra training a day. Get in the habit of it. And that will help you get it into your life, into your routine. Think about this as an example, brushing your teeth. Right? Do you need to kick yourself mentally in the bum to brush your teeth? Most likely not, unless you're a small kid. You need to force them to brush their teeth, because it's not yet a habit and they don't understand why. But if you've done it enough and it's in your routine, you brush your teeth because that's just something you do. Well, for me, for example, training is the same way. Fitness training, I crave it. It's something I do. It does not require any willpower on my part to do my fitness training and to hit the gym, and even to do my martial arts training, and even to do my studying for martial arts. To watch videos, watch tutorials, courses about techniques, watch fights. I crave it. I like it. It's part of me now, because I cultivated that habit. And you could do the same if you start small and you develop the power of habit over time. So start small, integrate it into your routine, and apply selective discipline for at least 2 months, so that you are able to get it ingrained in your routine, and it does not cost you any more willpower to go to training. It'll become something you crave. In order to do so, to facilitate the process, make sure you start slow and progressively, so you don't feel bad, you don't feel sore after training, and you're able to come back easier. Now, a little caveat on that. Yes, start slow, but do increase over time. So for any resistance training exercise, you want to feel light soreness the next day. So it's the same way for me. When I lift, I want to feel light soreness the next day. That means that I worked, you got a nice muscle pump going on, your muscles are going to adapt, they're going to become stronger, and you're going to feel good, and you're going to feel solid. But you do not want to be like overly sore where you have trouble moving and going down the stairs. That doesn't make sense. It's not really productive for you. So there you go. Physiology, psychology, understanding willpower. And the last thing that's a little bit more long-term that you should be ready for when you begin your martial arts training, and you should be ready to share with your students if you are an instructor, coach, or teacher, is the cycles of motivation and progress. progression. So, especially in martial arts, when you begin, your progress will be fast. Okay, so if you had no idea that when you're on the ground, you shouldn't turn your back away from the guy because you're going to get choked, you're going to catch on pretty quick, especially if you have good instruction and good explanations and good resources to consult. You will quickly grab those concepts. If you've never thrown a punch before and you're just punching from the shoulder, and we show you how to use your base and your legs and put your hips into it and your shoulders into it, and boom, have a nice punch with your whole body into it, and now you're able to develop power, which you weren't before. That's a rapid improvement. So your improvement at the beginning of your training usually goes up in an arrow like this. It goes very fast at the beginning. If you're in very bad shape, you go progressively, but you will get stronger much faster. It's quick at the beginning. But then what happens, and you should be ready for that right off the bat when you begin, your progression will slow down over time. Okay, that's just natural. You started from nothing. You had absolutely no experience, and now you learn key concepts, key movements, and you're able to do them. You're starting to do some applications with a partner. You're starting to have some success. Eventually, it takes a little bit more time to reach the higher levels. And if you think about, if you take it all the way to like Olympic athletes or professional fighters or like people at the very peak of their discipline, they spend all their time on their chosen discipline, and even sometimes in a very niche or specific area of that discipline, just to shave a couple seconds off that 100-meter dash, or even like fractions of a second. It's minute improvements at the end, and so much effort to reach those minute improvements, which is completely in contrast with at the beginning, where progression is very, very fast with relatively minimal effort. So be ready for that. Know that your progression is going to slow down over time, and you have to be okay with it. So you have to be okay with the fact that, okay, I've learned a good basics, now it's going to slow down, but hey, if you keep at it, and you keep your momentum, and you keep the habit, you will keep on improving, albeit a little bit slower, but just be ready for that. You will eventually, you might even hit a plateau. So sometimes your progression actually stops for a little while. Maybe you don't have as much time as you would like to train. Maybe you have some type of a physical condition that prevents you from training as much as you want, or from practicing a certain set of techniques. That's okay. You go through the plateau, you will have another kind of growth spurt of progression down the road if you keep at it. And that's what we tell our students all the time as well, is it's okay to slow down. It's okay to train less often, but do not stop. If you've set a goal for yourself and you still want to stick to that goal of learning and mastering martial arts, at least to the extent where you know you can defend yourself against most untrained human beings, this would be a good goal for all people, I believe. And above and beyond as well, if you want to be great at martial arts and really accomplish yourself through that, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. Growing your physical fitness, your body, acquiring powerful skills and knowledge, just confidence of knowing that you can master another human being physically. I feel there's nothing quite like it. Plus, it's a ton of fun. But if you set that goal for yourself, make sure that you don't let yourself be sidetracked from whatever else is going on, and you at least maintain. Because if you maintain, you do maybe once a week, or just a little bit, like a couple times, a little session here and there, watch a video or two just to refresh your mind, watch a fight, so that you can maintain your skill level. And this will make it a lot easier, so when you have more time to train, to get back into it and train more and keep on progressing to the next level. Opposite of that, on the contrary, if you stop completely, you don't stay at the same level, you go down. And now it becomes a lot harder to come back. Why? Because you're going to be discouraged from your decreased ability, whereas what you had before, maybe your training partners that you had before are now better than you, and that can be quite a hit on motivation. So if you want to prevent that, keep training, maintain. Just practice your basics, basic movements, hit the bag a bit, do a little bit of shadow grappling, shadow wrestling, just to maintain the exercises, stay in shape, keep doing your fitness training, either hit the gym or body weights, so that your body stays in good shape and you keep the movements and the techniques fresh. That's it, the cycles of motivation. And if ever you do stop for a certain amount of time, come back full circle. If you stop completely, go back and start the activity again with the same expectations as if you were a complete beginner. And modulate that depending on the amount of time that you did not train, but really like lower your expectations as you go back into it. And again, go back into it progressively, like you're starting something new. For example, myself, when sometimes it happens that I don't train for a week or sometimes two, rarely more than that. I don't hit the gym, maybe let's say I'm on vacation, I'm away, or there's stuff with the family, whatever it is. I can't train or I don't want to train for a certain amount of time. When I get back into it, even for 2 weeks, even for 1 week or 2 weeks, I lower my intensity when I get back. I do a full body training a little bit, lower the weights about 30%, whatever. Just get the juices flowing, get back into it. And then the next week I increase, and within like 2-3 weeks, I'm back to what I was before. So apply the same thing on your own. Quick recap, how to train for beginners, understanding physiology and psychology, specifically willpower and motivation, to help you begin a smooth martial arts training journey, as well as maintain it over time, and or get back into it if you haven't, if you need to stop for whatever reason. So when you start very slow. Do not go to the end of your, don't push yourself to the limit. Just start slow, do maybe no more than 50% of your potential when you begin in the first couple of classes. Then work your way up and try to create a habit. So use the power of habit. Force yourself. Apply selective discipline for about 2 months until it becomes something that you do. Be prepared for the cycles of motivation, meaning know that your progression is going to be fast at the beginning. Anticipate the plateau. Anticipate the fact that it'll take more effort, more time in order to reach the next levels once you've covered the basics, but be okay with it. And just be okay with progressing slowly if that's the amount of time that you have to invest, or invest more time if you want or if you can to progress faster. But it will take more time and effort to progress the further you get into your training experience. And that's it. Physiology, psychology, willpower, and motivation. Hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below. I'll be happy to expand on that as soon as I can. And questions, suggestions, other things that you would like us to cover. If you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing if you have not subscribed already. And for all our returning subscribers, we love you guys. Very happy to see you here. Means a lot that you took time to check out this information, and hopefully it could be helpful. We're really forcing to get you the best possible information to help you and or the people around you train martial arts effectively and reach whatever goal that you set for yourself, whether that be fitness, fun, self-defense, or high achievement in your martial arts. There we go, guys. Signing off. Patrick Phillip here at Effective Martial Arts HQ. Thank you very much for watching. Practice well.